What's up guys, my name is Mark. These are some predictions for the 2018 NBA season. Now some of these you will be familiar with. I will be talking about the MVP, the Rookie of the Year, and all those other fun awards that we like talking about as NBA fans. But I'll also be talking about some things that you probably never thought of, or just some random topics. So without further ado, let's get into it. MVP. I've thought about this a lot and I don't feel really good about my pick because this is a year with so much player movement, but I am gonna go with John Wall. The Wizards have a pretty good chance at getting the first seed in the East, in my opinion. John Wall is motivated to go for that MVP award. Westbrook and Harden both had huge star additions to their teams. They're not going to put up nearly the same type of numbers than they did last year. I can't imagine LeBron taking the regular season very seriously, and I think the Warriors aren't going to play Kevin Durant that many minutes as they likely coast through the regular season. Second on my prediction ballot would be Kawhi Leonard, who will have to carry this old battered Spurs roster to another 50-win season. And even though it's a bit of a stretch in terms of Vegas odds, my gut tells me John Wall. Rookie of the Year. I'm going to go with Lonzo Ball. I know I talked about how John Collins has a pretty good chance at this award in a previous video, and while I do think he's a dark horse candidate, if my life depended on it, I'd have to go with the Vegas favorite, Lonzo Ball. He's going to average close to double-digit assists, at least 10 points per game, I would expect, and those numbers are automatically going to put him in the conversation. And if the Lakers are better than people think they're going to be, which I think is going to happen, this is a pretty straightforward selection. Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going with Rudy Gobert. I thought he should have won it this last season, and I have no reason to believe that either him or the Jazz defense as a whole is going to suffer from any type of decline. Granted, there's a significant possibility that the Jazz actually miss the playoffs if their offense suffers too much from the loss of Gordon Hayward, in which case Gobert's case for Defensive Player of the Year is a little bit less substantial as the defensive anchor for a non-playoff team. But still, I'm gonna roll with Rudy Gobert. Most Improved Player. This one was really tough. There are a lot of candidates. I end up going with Rodney Hood, so here's some more love for Jazz fans. The biggest reason is that Rodney Hood has the biggest opportunity to take on a primary offensive role this season. The Jazz, after losing Gordon Hayward, will desperately need some shot creation, and as of right now, Rodney Hood looks like the most ready candidate to be that primary offensive shot creator. Using the same logic, I also do expect Porzingis to be in the conversation for Most Improved Player. The reason why I have Hood over Porzingis is because statistically, Porzingis was way better than Hood last season. Last year, Kristaps put up 18 points and 7 rebounds per game, whereas Rodney Hood only averaged 12 points per game because he suffered from an injury that he was dealing with all season long. Most Improved Player is judged by looking at the margin of improvement. So, I could easily see Rodney Hood averaging somewhere around 20 points per game, whereas the same 8 point per game improvement for Kristaps Porzingis would have him averaging 26 points per game. And I don't quite see that for the Unicorn just yet. Sixth Man of the Year. I'm gonna say Lou Williams. He's been a top 5 Sixth Man of the Year candidate for the past 4 or 5 years. Every season, you know he's gonna be in the top 5 of voting. This season, he's coming off the bench, presumably behind Patrick Beverley and Austin Rivers. He'll definitely get a lot of playing time, and barring some major injury to Blake Griffin, I do expect the Clippers to still be a playoff team. Another guy that's pretty high on my list is Jordan Clarkson, and also Derrick Rose, but that depends on when Isaiah Thomas comes back healthy. Because if Rose is starting for more games this season than he is coming off the bench, then he's disqualified for Sixth Man of the Year. Prediction number 6. OKC will be the best defensive team in the league. Last year, the Oklahoma City Thunder were 10th in defense. This season, they got rid of Enes Kanter, who was one of the worst defenders in the league, as well as Sabonis and McDermott, both who contributed negatively to their defense. And they added Paul George, elite defender, Patrick Patterson, versatile stretch forward that can switch onto guards, and Melo, who hasn't been a great defender his career, but has never been nearly as bad as, let's say, Enes Kanter. Most importantly, with the addition of Paul George and Melo, Westbrook no longer has to carry a crazy offensive load, and thus he has no excuse to not be a much better defender than he was last year, because last year he was atrocious. And that's really what I'm betting on, is Russ becoming, dare I say, a borderline All-NBA caliber defender, defending opposing point guards, which is the position with the most offensive talent in the league. If that happens, I definitely can see OKC being the best defense in the league. Prediction number 7. The Denver Nuggets will be the best offensive team in the league. One of the interesting facts from last season that people forget was that after the Nuggets traded away Jusuf Nurkic and they sort of handed the reins over to Nikola Jokic, they were the best offensive team in the league. Better than Houston, better than Golden State. This offseason, they lost Gallinari but replaced him with Millsap, who's not only a much better defender, but also will replace Gallinari's offense. Combine that with their young players, Jamal Murray, who could have a breakout year, Emmanuel Mudiay if he can ever figure out his jump shot, Gary Harris, Trey Lyles, I see no reason why this team won't be just as good offensively as they were last year, if not better. They're also going to be just super entertaining and fun to watch. And I'm definitely going to try my best to grab a ticket and watch one of their games. To do so, I would have to buy tickets, and there's no better way to do that than to use SeatGeek, the sponsor of today's video. SeatGeek collects all the ticket selling websites and groups them together in one place to give you a full comparison and to make sure that you get the best bang for your buck. It also gives you a preview of what the seat will look like, so you know exactly what you're getting when you buy a ticket. If you want to get the app, the link will be in the description down below, and make sure to use promo code MDJ for $20 off your first purchase. Now, if you live in Miami, you might want to download the app and start using it after I tell you my prediction number 8, that the Miami Heat will win 50 plus games. In the second half of last season, the Miami Heat went 30-11, which is on pace for a 62-win season. Now, I don't think they will win 62, but I feel pretty good saying that they will win 50, which will probably get them a top 4 seed in the East. This team reminds me a lot of the 2015 Hawks, when they surprised everyone by winning 60 games that year in 2015, and they did so without a quote-unquote superstar, but rather with a bunch of second-tier stars and really good role players. That's kind of what the Heat have. I don't expect him to go very far in the playoffs, but I do think they'll at least win a ton of regular season games. Prediction number 9, Giannis will lead the league in triple-doubles. Not that triple-doubles matter, it's because it's a stupid, pointless stat, but like, for some reason, fans seem to care about it, so I don't know, I just tossed it in. Prediction number 10. The Chicago Bulls will be the worst team in the NBA. I don't think this surprises anyone. As of right now, Vegas does have the Bulls as the worst team in the NBA. They have all the incentive to tank for a high draft pick, a severe lack of star power on the team, especially now with Dwayne Wade gone. Half of this roster consists of players that are one bad season away from being cut, and presumably their best player, Zach LaVine, is coming off an ACL injury. Prediction number 11. The Indiana Pacers will make the playoffs. I know they lost Paul George, yes, but the roster as a whole still looks really good. Darren Collinson, Victor Oladipo, they still got Thaddeus Young. I'm 100% expecting a breakout season from Miles Turner, who's now going to be the #1 option on this team. They added Corey Joseph, best backup point guard in the league, in my opinion. Bojan Bogdanovic, still got Lance Stevenson coming off the bench. This is a really solid group, and for the most part, really good defenders. And as we all know, the East this year will be historically bad, so I see the Pacers sneaking into the playoffs as a 7th or 8th seed. Prediction number 12. Eric Bledsoe will be traded. He's been in trade rumors for the past 2 seasons, and even during the summer, people thought he was going to the Cavs. Now that the Cavs have Isaiah, Derrick Rose, and Dwayne Wade, I don't think he's going to the Cavs, but I do think he's going somewhere. He has 2 years left on his contract, and the problem is the Suns are at least 2 years away from being a playoff team in the West, at least 3 to 4 years away from being a contending team, if they ever even get to that point. Eric Bledsoe will be around 30 years old and past his prime when the Suns start getting really competitive, so he just doesn't match their timeline super well, and there are a lot of teams who would give up first-round picks and quality young players to get someone like Eric Bledsoe, especially if Eric Bledsoe has 2 years left on his contract and not just 1. Prediction number 13. DeMarcus Cousins will be traded before the trade deadline. So Cousins will be a free agent after this year. And I'm thinking about this from the Pelicans' perspective. If you're the Pelicans, you know that you're not winning the championship. You're hoping to have a good season where you make the playoffs, which is not by any means a guarantee, and hopefully that good season will convince Cousins to stay. If that happens, and the Pelicans somehow miraculously end up being, let's say, the 4th or 5th best team in the West, they somehow make it out of the first round, then maybe I could see Boogie considering staying there. Otherwise, I don't see any reason for Boogie to stay. So let's say by the trade deadline, the Pelicans still haven't figured out how to fit AD and Boogie together, the Rondo Holiday experiment doesn't work, the team suffers because it has no wing players, and they're a couple games below 500. I think they're going to find a way to trade him to at least get some value out of him before he leaves, either for some players that will help make the team more well-rounded and competitive, or for draft picks and assets that New Orleans can use to build for the future. As of right now, most likely destinations, I'm going to say either Cleveland or Washington. Those make the most sense to me, and even though on paper it might seem like a quote-unquote half-year rental, remember, when you trade for a player and he goes into free agency, you are the only team that can sign that player to a 5-year contract. And you can offer more money to that player, not just in total, but also on a year-to-year basis than any other team in the league. That's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. I'll give you 1 second. Great, awesome, thanks. I got a huge announcement coming out in a couple of days. I'm super excited to tell you guys. So I'll see you probably again Tuesday or Wednesday. But until then, thank you for watching. I'm MDJ, and I'll see you next time.